Wednesday, hump day here on Splash Play NBA, but you know what we're going to do? We're going to cure those hump day blues. How many times can I say hump day in the intro? We're going to look at projections, of course, comparing my projections to one of the industry leaders on Stokastic. We're going to look at the ownership, the DFS lineups. We're going to sim some stuff out. We're just going to hop to the world of Unabated as well. Oh, there I'm playing in the background. Going to hop to the world of Unabated to find the best prop bets today on your pick'em sites, Underdog, PrizePicks, as well as on the leading sports books, DraftKings Sportsbook, and FanDuel. Let's get into it, guys. It is Wednesday. As I mentioned, again, could not have said hump day more times up top. Of course, presented by Unabated as always, $30 off. Link in the description. Check them out. Of course, their prop betting tools you get added on top of their Cyber Monday deal as well, which I think is still going. So check that out. Of course, we'll get some bets coming in when their projections are released at 4:30. For right now, my projections are released as of 4:02 p.m. on the East Coast, and it starts with Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm at 63.2 today. He is on the thumbnail once again. Looks like the best projected player. It's a little bit tough to get to his salary. That's at the field. We'll be there about 29% of the time. I'll be there at 32.7%. Bit of a disappointment game yesterday for Giannis as one of the only pay-up options on that main slate. Did not play it that well. I think didn't even get to 50 fantasy points. So for Giannis, hopefully redemption today here. The spot for Milwaukee going against Atlanta today. Total, let me see where we're at for this. Total net Milwaukee game, 120 implied points for Milwaukee, and still 116 on Atlanta's side. So should be one of the higher total games on the slate. Only a 4-point spread favoring Milwaukee as well. So Giannis, theoretically a safe play. Good matchup as well. Nothing stopping him on that Hawk side of the equation. Shout out to the chat here. Love the intro. Thank you for that. Yeah, again, hump day, hump day. We got the Splash basketball. I appreciate I am the KY. And our guy Robert Griff the third here. Every day is hump day when you're horny. Thank you for making me read that out loud. Once again, I fall victim to reading the chat out loud without reading it with my eyes first. One of my biggest flaws as a host is that's what I do too regularly. Anthony Davis. So right now, the Stokastic data that I pull, I use their minutes rotations to set my projections up because I don't want to do minutes myself. It's a lot of work. And if you're not getting paid for it, it's fucking not a joy. So I don't do that. I just use theirs. They have not updated for Austin Reeves being out yet. That said, I did give Anthony Davis and LeBron James a rate boost to reflect Austin Reeves being off the court. In court time without Austin Reeves this year, LeBron and AD, obviously these guys are great with Reeves on the court, but getting one more high usage guy off certainly is going to help. Reeves has been at, or excuse me, LeBron has been at, without Reeves, 1.43 fantasy points per minute, 31% usage, 47.5% assist rate, a little bit of rebound boost as well at 14.8%. Anthony Davis, for his end, 1.57 fantasy points per minute in court time without Austin Reeves, 34.6% usage, 21% rebound rate, 21.4 if you want to be accurate to the decimal point, 11.3% assist rate. So they both get a boost here. As a result, I'm getting these guys more in the sim. When Austin Reeves is rolled out, I assume I'll get them even more than that. So LeBron and AD were not guys I would have thought should be on the thumbnail this morning. Probably more important plays in the slate for me right now than they would have been when I was planning that. I'd probably put AD or LeBron in the thumbnail if I could do it all over again. Splash Daddy Spags. So thank you very much. Even though I'm a father here and my literal child calls me daddy, still not my favorite thing in the world. Both the podcast call her daddy and also just calling me daddy. Not a fan, but I appreciate the sentiment if nothing else. Franz Wagner, 47.6 is my projection. Stokastic has been 46. Still not a highly projected enough play at that $9,800 salary. 9.5 is the value, or is the ownership rather now projected for Stokastic. I'm at 6% in the sim I ran, top 150 based ROI lineups on that. So Wagner to me, not a priority play, but certainly a tournament option here with ownership being where it is and that projection being that high. Jason Tatum, questionable right now. I assume he's going to go. I have a little bit lower than Stokastic, though, 47.5 compared to 49.5. That's still a top projected player in the slate. Boston, I think a nice game for them as well, playing against Detroit. Detroit obviously gave up a lot of points potentially early on to Boston. Could be a blowout spot here with Detroit. Detroit is a 14.5-point favorite, which is pretty egregious. Obviously, if they do blow out Detroit, some chance that's going in Jason Tatum's hands. Of course, it is Boston. Sometimes you do see the Peyton Pritchards of the world go off. Tatum kind of lays back here, gives you a mid-40s game, which is not enough to do at his 42. His 10-2 salary. If he's going to give you 47.5, even it doesn't look that good. 4.7x value. So Tatum, I think a decent play today if Detroit somehow stays competitive. I don't know if they will though, because Detroit's very bad still, and Boston's very good. James Harden. And obviously, if Tatum's out, everybody becomes a better play on Boston's side. So we'll see if that comes through. I do assume he plays, but we'll find out later. James Harden, 47.5 for me compared to 45.8 for Stokastic. 5x value, 19.6% is the overall exposure. I'm getting 16%, so not a big stand against Harden, not a big stand for him, basically with the field. Cunningham, 1.5% is the ownership. I'm higher on him than Stokastic at 46.1 compared to their 43.3. If he somehow is going to keep Detroit in that game, or if Detroit is going to stay in that game, it's probably at the hands of Cade Cunningham, you would think. Also, probably still don't want to pay the price tag for Jaden Ivey at $7,900. You're paying for a lot of that production he got with Cade Cunningham off the floor. So Cade, to me, a valid play if you're going to go with Boston guys. Certainly playing a Tatum and a Cade, maybe hard to find that money. But if those guys play in a competitive game that goes to overtime, or if it just puts up 120 points on both sides, those guys could be slate breakers. So I'll point it out here because I don't think that combo will get played very much. And projection-wise, you're not dying to get there. So I get the logic. Schroeder love today. A Schroeder we got here at 7,500. We'll sort by value in a moment. He'll probably pop a little bit more there. Other top projected guys, Trae Young and Jalen Johnson, as always, pretty flat for me. Both guys playing very well in the year for the most part, but in different ways. Trae Young's usage down, assist rates up. Jalen Johnson doing a little bit of everything. I like him a little bit more. So that's at Tyrese Maxey, getting 7% of him. You're low on Trae Young. It's basically where it is. Tyler Hero, I'm a little bit low on. Kind of surprised. Jimmy Butler's questionable right now. He's the one I wrote up for Unabated's DK Network article today, talking about the conditional NBA projections. He hasn't changed the status yet. There's kind of two things going on with him so he's on the injury report for knee soreness. There's also a lot of trade rumors stirring up about him lately, so that could be tied too. Weirdly, I don't know if this matters at all, but it's basketball players who are known for their dramatics. Jimmy Butler did recently change his hair color from heat red to like a weird shade of midnight blue / purple. So I don't know what's going on there, but he might be out. Wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world. If he is out, the Tyler Hero is going to look a lot better. Bam Adebayo look a lot better. It'll be the same situation as it was for the last time that I talked about these guys versus Boston, except that they're less likely to get blown out. Miami in their game today against the Lakers, I think they are a slight favorite, at least were as of this afternoon. Yeah, Miami a 3-point favorite at home in Miami. So Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero already projected for about 20%, 25% ownership for Hero. That's going to go up a good amount if you get Butler out. Like and subscribe. Hey, I agree with that. Getting new videos Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. here. We're on that march, trying to get the first 500 subs on here, hopefully before the new year if it's possible. So please show some love. I'm going to be here doing the work no matter what every day. Thanks to our friends at Unabated. And of course, just come back whenever you want. John C. Eddie here. Good to see you as well in the chat. And let's see what else we got. Sort by value, and then we'll go game by game. It's only a 6-gamer, so we got time. Sort by value. All right, top values. Mike Conley, I'm getting him 56% in my top 150 lineups. In the sim that I ran on Stokastic before the show, that's compared to the field's 27. This could move around a little bit because D'Angelo Russell, I'd expect, will come up some more for me. Right now, I'm getting a 25%, but when they take out Reeves, Russell's minutes will go up a little bit more. He probably will start again, I would think. So Russell going to look like a much better play, and I guess he'll come up for the field and for me. But Conley right now, 27%, getting 30-minute projection for him. He's playing a lot of minutes right now. Minnesota clearly needs the stabilizing presence. Really no minutes threats behind him now. Dillingham also going to be out today if that's a few extra minutes for Conley, maybe like one extra minute that Dillingham might have gotten otherwise. That doesn't hurt either. So Conley looks good as a value. The question is, though, does he give you even enough for the floor, let alone the ceiling? I've had him in enough slates lately where he's given you 25-ish, and that's okay, but it only works enough to win a tournament for you if everything else in your lineup hits. So got to be aggressive with things around Conley here because he fits in the lineups well, but he also really does kind of inhibit your ceiling for the most part. Quentin Jackson coming up a little bit for me. No true values here, so him at 3,600 looks okay. Projected for 23.8 minutes. He's been active overall in this Pacers lineup, but hold on. I've been trying to find stuff on my Excel sheet throughout this, and it's searching in the formulas and not the values. All right, here we go. Yeah, Quentin Jackson, on the year, 0.83 fantasy points per minute, 17% usage, 17% assist rate, rebound rate 6% is not that much. Doing enough out there, though, that you take the shot on him as a value play. Certainly not a priority, but I am getting him 29% in the sim, which you got is before this Lakers news. It's going to move things around a little bit. Kelly Oubre, I'm getting a lot more. His rates take a nice jump up in court time without Paul George and Joel Embiid this year. Basically, they kind of need that third scorer. You kind of saw it even against were they playing the other night? Playing Charlotte the other night. lot of shots were there for Kelly Oubre just because of Embiid not being there. Now you're taking out Paul George as well, and I think he's going to get some of the shots Paul George was getting for himself that he looked great doing as well. Paul George, my lineup last night was fantastic with Paul George in it because he had put up one of the best scores on the slate, and he also, I think, looked the most like Paul George he has so far in the Sixers. So watch out for the Sixers. They defensively are dog shit. They let Brandon Miller shoot the Hornets completely into that game. But that was a weird one. Like KJ Simpson started getting a lot of minutes for the Hornets. Neither here nor there. I watched that entire game because I had so much lying on Soup and Micic just lost minutes to KJ Simpson throughout. And that's why, if you didn't watch the game, that's why the chalk busted yesterday was Micic losing minutes to KJ Simpson. And basically they couldn't defend Paul George throughout. Anyway, Kelly Oubre put up some shots yesterday. Going to get some more today. He's averaging 0.87 fantasy points a minute in court time without Paul George and Embiid. I kept Drummond on there for this because there wasn't enough minutes to go around. You take Drummond off as well, but there should be a few more rebounds as well with no Drummond out there. Tyrese Maxey averaging 1.23 fantasy points a minute without Drummond and Embiid and Paul George this year. So he looks pretty good as well on the slate. Jared McCain should be at about 1.1 without those guys. So overall, the Sixers guys, good values, including Kelly Oubre here is number 3 for me. D'Angelo Russell going to look better when we get Reeves out in the projection. LeBron looks good to me, picking up some of that Reeves production as well at 50 fantasy points, $9,500 salary. And that's sort of it. Naz Reid playable at 46. There's no great values. Jarris Walker, who was kind of useless yesterday, especially compared to Obi Toppin, who actually did produce. He's here. Gil Alexander-Walker as a Conley pivot. He's here. Obi Toppin here again at 3,600, but nothing looks fantastic. Let's go game by game here now. And of course, going to show you my projections. Stokastic ownership. We've talked enough about it overall. You probably have a pretty good idea where we're going to go. Got Paul George and nothing else. Yeah, I was finished, I think, top 900 with a lineup that had everything on fire except for fucking Isaiah Hartenstein was one of the big problems for me. And Micic I had everywhere as well. So those two were the only guys who were bad. If I had 1v1 that to KJ Simpson and somebody else, I don't know who the player would have been there because I couldn't have quite gotten to somebody like Luka tier. And you kind of maybe needed him to put up 70. But I had like a really nice lineup, and I'm like, fucking just like chalk. Like I like Hartenstein a lot, but they like didn't play him past the third quarter because the Thunder were just wrecking that team, wrecking the Jazz yesterday. It's a tough scene when that happens, but that's why, I don't know. That's why trying to be more mindful of the chalk that could like lose minutes of rotation. I mean, that's how I won my biggest money in NBA DFS was playing Taj Gibson on Nerlens Noel slate. In general, like when you see the chalk being Micic and his minutes aren't guaranteed, you maybe fade Micic for the backup a little bit more because KJ Simpson been producing fairly well, and then he was basically the direct backup, so he could close, and he ended up taking a lot of minutes away from Micic. Micic also was awful in that game, so that's how that goes. That's the Spags explains why the chalk was awful last night and why it ruined his evening. And on the day where there's a $5 tournament as well, fucking worst. Anyway, Detroit 103.5, Boston 118. I'm not getting a lot here. I do think there's a case to be made if you're going to play Jason Tatum, you're going to play Jaylen Brown. I would probably consider playing Cade Cunningham a little bit more, maybe Tobias Harris, who had a nice day yesterday for the first time in his life, feels like as a Piston. Cade would be the play for me here. Still feels going to be at 1.5%. I got 2.7. I am higher on him than Stokastic is, but not a great play for me. If there are some competitive though, Cade maybe overproduces. Beasley maybe gets going a little bit more / THJ, I guess. THJ has been awful on the year though. Something could go off here if they hang in there with Boston, but what it is, and can't even hang in there. Like if Tatum and Drew are active, Drew Holiday are active, I don't know how Detroit really hangs in this game. Scotty Barnes, point guard, and Joker last night on FanDuel. Yeah, Scotty Barnes, he's really, I was confused by the projection Stokastic had, and he still meaningfully exceeded that. I don't know what they're doing for his rates to get him that much higher than I do, because I get Scotty Barnes a little bit more than the market usually. But he's playing really well. My best lineup did have Barrett and Barnes together, which is a nice combo. But yeah, I don't know. There were a lot of nice plays in that 8K range yesterday, unfortunately. So if you didn't get them, like, you're kind of fucked. Especially with Barnes being like crazy chalk. He's like 60% owned on most of the tournaments yesterday. Anyway, Detroit, not a lot to love. Boston, there's more. Porzingis looks pretty good to me. Got him 26% compared to the field 17. He's been playing about a 1.33 fantasy point per minute pace out of about 1.27 a day. Minutes are coming up for him. He's projected for 29 today, so I think he looks pretty good. Him looking good also meaningfully does cut into my Tatum and my Jaylen Brown a little bit there. I'm getting less in the field on Tatum. He's at 10.9%. I'm getting 1. Jaylen Brown, he's at 5.8%. I'm getting 4. Derek White, 10.5. I'm basically flat with that, 9.3. But getting a lot more Porzingis. He can obviously fail here, but he's playing well. 26% usage. If he does play well, he's maybe part of the reason that Boston runs away in this game too. And you probably don't need Porzingis to have a bring back. I would think Tatum, you want to get 4 quarters of him really being in a competitive game. For Porzingis, he could probably have a really good 25 minutes, and that's his day at his price tag. But we'll see how it goes. Indiana, 113.8 implied points. Brooklyn, 111.3. So Indiana, everybody healthy here. Tyrese Halliburton on the road. I don't see a lot to love. I am always low in Halliburton. The field will be 17.5%. Field's been really sharp with ownership and Stokastic ownership data as well. Definitely making these guys, I think, generally, they'll sometimes highlight guys in ownership that don't feel like great projection plays, end up having a good day that night. So he's going to be owned by about a fifth of the field. Not a Halliburton guy. I have 2% in my sim. But for you guys out there, you want to go your way. Halliburton perfectly fine, but at 1.04 fantasy points a minute on the year. Starting to shoot a little bit better, but I just don't love him. Value will definitely open up with the Clippers. Just depends on when we get the news. What Clippers value? I mean, Terrence Mann, they already have accounted for. And Kawhi, obviously not going either. I don't know. Clippers don't have an injury report out. Doesn't mean there's going to be value that opens up. But there could be. I guess if Harden were somehow to not go, that'd be something. But I don't expect anybody to be held out. Indiana on their side, I'm with the field on McConnell. 12% is going to be the ownership there. Not great values. You get a $4,800 point guard who produces at 1.08 fantasy points per minute. That's fine on a slate whenever. Jarris Walker, again, no great value here. Getting him 25%. Field's going to be at 22. I always get Jarris Walker. I don't feel good about him. Projection's only at 19.6, but it's really because that $3,800 salary works, allows you to get guys that have the higher ceiling and the higher median outcomes, median projection. That's why you get Jarris Walker. That's why you get Quentin Jackson as well. Well, I'm getting a shooting guard, small forward, 3,600. I'm at 29% compared to the field's 8. Both these guys coming up a lot. I don't love them as plays, but Brooklyn's defense isn't that great either. One of them can get hot from the wing. I think that'd be your hope here. Obi Toppin still looks good today. He smashed his value yesterday. Doesn't mean he'll do it again, but 12% sim ownership compared to 7% for the field. Honestly, I'm going to take a lot of value from Indiana unless something opens up. And if it's great, something that, something big hopefully opens up for one team, but if nothing does, these guys are probably your best values right now. All in the real rotational minutes, all priced well, and hopefully one of them can hit a ceiling. Probably wouldn't want to play multiple together would be my guess. Brooklyn, 111.3 is their implied points. Cam Johnson looks the best to me. He's kind of benefited the most in court time without Cam Thomas out there. Actually, I have the rates over here. Court time without Cam Thomas. Cam Johnson averaging 1.05 fantasy points minutes so far this year on 22% usage and a 17% assist rate. It seems pretty high. Dennis Schroeder, the biggest beneficiary, though, averaging 28% usage, 42.6% assist rate, a 1.19 fantasy points a minute for Schroeder. So I think he's the big winner here. I'll get him 23% compared to the field's 9. Price tag coming up for him, so I certainly get not chasing him, but he is, theoretically and practically the one who's benefiting the most from the lack of Cam Thomas. I guess your concern point would be maybe Indiana running away with this one, but they're only 2.5 point favorites. So we expect not. And obviously on the road as well at Brooklyn. Claxton not getting a lot. Cam Johnson, I'm getting a lot, as I mentioned. Simmons, I'm low on. Simmons, the minutes cap is not high enough for him to get there. Dariq Whitehead looked good last game. He did. It's hard to predict these minutes, though, especially if Finney Smith is in. If Finney Smith is in, there's not enough minutes to go around. When you have all these guys healthy. So I probably wouldn't want to chase Whitehead or Tyrese Martin, who looked pretty good in garbage time as well. Started really slow, even though he started the game, then cleaned up in the fourth quarter, was really a lot more active. He seems like he's like, this is so dumb. It sounds ridiculous to say. Tyrese Martin seems like he's shy when he's like with the starting group, where he like doesn't look for a shot really. He just kind of does his job, stands in the corner, like tries to look active. He's engaged or whatever. But he's like, I don't know that I want to shoot. Then everybody goes and he could finally blossom and be, the leader of the gang. But Dariq Whitehead did play a few minutes with the backup group, producing about 1.16 fantasy points a minute so far. True shooting is going to come down for him, but they got a lot of bodies here is really the main thing. You can see here, everybody projected for minutes amidst this top 11 guys. So really not a lot to love minutes-wise to me besides the top guys here. Unless somebody gets ruled out. Finney Smith is questionable. He can get ruled out. Who else here? I don't really know. I got to take out my NBA Cup notes from yesterday. We don't need these now. The only time I have notes on the sheet is when it's with the NBA Cup because that shit is confusing. So let me take it out of these two games. All right, next game up. And I'll be on the deeper dive today as well at 5:30. So hopefully some more projections updates for that. Just didn't have Austin Reeves out. I was going to talk about the Lakers here. Just want to point that in advance. So I did adjust the rates to reflect no Austin Reeves, but didn't have time to adjust the minutes on my own and eyeball it. I can see really fast if they updated it, just out of curiosity. All right, still no update, so I can't update on the fly for you guys. But right now, again, this is with Reeves getting 30.6 minutes, but these guys' rates bumped up. Getting a lot more LeBron, 40% sim exposure to LeBron compared to the Field's 19. His ownership will go up as a result of Austin Reeves being out. How much it'll go up could affect the sim ownership, but I think his ownership will go up, and I guess my sim exposure will as well, with the projection going up. Anthony Davis getting 16% compared to the Field's 12. I'm not sure how much better he's going to look for me with Austin Reeves out. Reeves really leaves a few rebounds behind, but a low 6% rebound rate on the year. I don't think it's going to impact my AD exposure too much more, but I am getting more than the Field naturally. That looks okay. D'Angelo Russell should be a big beneficiary. So he does get a rate jump without Austin Reeves in the court, averaging 1.09 fantasy points a minute and about 530 possessions court time without Reeves, 24% usage, 29% assist rate. Some of that's in that second unit, so maybe it comes down a little bit, but I think D'Angelo Russell on the slate where there isn't a lot of great value. He and Mike Conley as point guards around this 5K range look good. Russell at 4,900 got more than double the Field on. Low on Don't Connect. I'll probably get more of him when Reeves is marked out and I get the minutes kind of redistributed. Rui Hachimura, not as sure about that. But Connect already chalky as it is, 19% ownership before they took Reeves out. He's probably coming up to high 20s, low 30s. Really glad I played Hartenstein and faded Barnes last night. Well, yeah, Barnes you could fade, but I got the logic on Barnes. He was so highly owned, but yeah, Hartenstein really did not help out. It sucks because he really is involved in that offense. He'll get passed at the top of the key, be creating offense and stuff in a way that he really didn't have the opportunity to do that, at least on the Knicks last year. And I think in his career, really, he's kind of a rim runner and shot blocker. Now he's doing that stuff. Fanny's like a part of the offense and really makes some fun passes in game, kind of a mini Jokic way. So Hartenstein, fun to watch, but they just smoked the Jazz too badly. Miami on their side, I'm low on these guys right now with Jimmy Butler questionable. Tyler Hero is one, though, where I like him at this price tag, 7,600. I have him projected pretty much flat with Stokastic, 38.8 for me compared to 39 for them. He'll be owned 26% by the Field. If Butler is out, these guys are both probably him and Bam Adebayo. 40% plays would be my guess. They're going to look a lot better if so. Not a high pace spot versus the Lakers. Lakers defense, so not that good on the year. So that's your trade-off for that. Orlando, 107 implied points. Philadelphia, 101.5. As I mentioned earlier, no Embiid, no Andre Drummond again, no Paul George as well after he had the best game of his little Sixers career so far. He's out today. So facing a tough defense. That said, ton of usage to go around. Tyrese Maxey looks okay to me, getting him a little bit higher projected than Stokastic, 44.5 compared to 42.3. Jared McCain getting him 2x the Field here. His rates take a pretty big jump up without Paul George on the court, along with Embiid this year. McCain averaging 1.12 fantasy points a minute, along with 30.8% usage. So I think in this spot, if Philadelphia can hang in here with Orlando, probably comes down to Maxey and McCain playing well. I think Oubre contributing as well. 41% exposure there compared to the Field's 14. Not great values on the slate. Shooting guard as well. Not a lot of plays you want to get to. He's 5,300. I can play Oubre on this one. I'll get him a good amount today. Yabusele, not so much. Really, Maxey, McCain, Oubre here are the big beneficiaries for me with no Drummond, no Embiid again. Two Clippers just got ruled out, KPJ and Powell. Oh, there we go. All right, so that's a big one. That's probably it then, though. I don't think you'd get Harden ruled out now. It's certainly possible, but we'll see. Again, I don't have a projections update. If I get one, I'll keep refreshing this tab if I give you one before we hop off here. If nothing else, we'll see the lens of betting markets through Unabaded's projections, which I'm sure will be updated. All right. Orlando on their side, I skipped over them. Bitadze is coming up a lot. I think just that $5,100 price tag works. Bitadze was a late scratch yesterday. Ended up with Wendell Carter getting some more minutes. Mo Wagner, though, was a big beneficiary. Carter tapped out at 20 minutes. I don't know if it was a minutes cap for him or what. Mo Wagner then played every minute that Carter wasn't on the floor. The last time that Carter and Bitadze and Mo Wagner, that is, were all healthy, it was Carter playing alongside Bitadze. So they're giving you the minutes that reflect that. It's possible that one of them doesn't start, and you just have three guys competing all for center minutes, which would make them all unplayable. Feels like 27 minutes for Carter after he just played 19 and change is a little bit lofty. So this chalk doesn't feel good. I'm with it right now, but I don't think that's going to be the case when we get to lock. Jalen Suggs, 13% sim exposure for me compared to 11% for the field. Franz Wagner, 6% compared to 10. I think Franz a good tournament play, as I mentioned, but doesn't project that fantastically today. Really not lots of love here. Not a high total game. Batate, just kind of a symptom of the slate, not a priority. Wendell Carter, honestly, I don't want it all. I really don't buy him getting 27 minutes today. So really, you can talk me out of most of these plays here that I'm getting ownership for right now, and they're all going to be decently owned. Suggs at 11, Batate at 31, Wendell Carter at 13, and Franz Wagner at 10 is, again, a tournament play at 10. All right, Atlanta here. We got a couple more games on the slate. And guys, if you're just tuning in now, I do these videos Monday to Friday, 4 p.m. And hopefully they do add value. If they do add value to your process today, at least just hearing about the numbers and what I'm seeing, and fade whatever you want. Follow me on whatever you want. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. It does go a long way. And of course, check out our sponsor, Unabated, who I'll be showing you guys the betting data from in a moment. Of course, lots of plus EV bets according to their industry-leading NBA projections. Check them out. And of course, I'll talk more about them in a moment. But link in the description, $30 off the promo code SPLASH. And of course, help me put on the show. So if you want some betting data, go check them out. And I'm pretty confident you'll make your money back with their data that's used by some of the highest dollar bettors in the world out there. And they like things to be right. It may shock you to hear. Atlanta, 116 implied points. Pace up spot rather for Milwaukee. Technically a pace down for Atlanta here, but overall should be one of the higher pace games of the slate. You see with the high implied total as well. You got 236 implied points combined. I'm getting Trae Young less than the field, though. Trae's usage has been down enough, 27%. He's assisting. I think in some respects, he's playing the best basketball he has in his life. He's just not gunning as much as he has in the past for whatever reason. Jalen Johnson, the big beneficiary of that. I'm getting 2x the field on Jalen Johnson. I have these guys always projected fairly close. I am higher on Johnson than Stokastic is at 43.2 compared to 40.5. Trae Young, I'm lower on than Stokastic, 44.1 compared to 44.6, but that's negligible. Dyson Daniels, not really a play to me, but he does get those random 5 stock days, 5 steal days alone that can come up. I never really play him in tournaments, though. Capella, a little bit above the field on 12.7% compared to 11. Not a priority play, getting 23.9 minutes projected, and that pretty much even split with Okongwu behind him. DeAndre Hunter getting 16% compared to 12. Not a big stand there, but again, that price tag of 4,900 at small forward, power forward helps you make better lineups. So you get these guys sometimes as a symptom of the slate. Bogdan Bogdanovic, I'm low on. He's not been playing that well on the year. 0.82 fantasy points a minute. Shooting terribly at 51% sure shooting. Seems like the field will be expecting him to positively regress today, and I get it at the $4,400 price tag with a 26-minute projection. I have no issue getting Bogdanovic, but I'll be low on him. 15% compared to the field's 26, but he's definitely one of your core value plays for the field today. So if you want to tail that, Bogdanovic right now, 4,400. I think if you're being a price-sensitive player, that price is like a little bit too low for his historical numbers. He just hasn't been that good this year with a few different mouths to feed, I guess, than he's had in previous years. Milwaukee, getting Giannis above the field at 33%, everything else underneath. Giannis, your one real pay-up option on the slate at 12-1. I'm at 63.2 is my projection. Stokastic has him at 61. He looks pretty solid there. I might have him at 1.8 fantasy points a minute today. Again, had the quiet day versus Detroit yesterday. Didn't need to go to the peak of his powers, I guess, to have this team move on in the NBA Cup. Leaves a little bit of room here, I think, for upside. Projected for 34.7 minutes, so naturally gets Atlanta's pretty pristine as well for a guy like Giannis. So I'm happy to get Giannis today whenever I do get him, if I can afford him in lineups. In our last game on the slate here, we got Minnesota, 108.5 implied points. On the Clipper side, 105.5. Again, as Eddie pointed out in chat, got a few guys out here, but not really the key guys. So we'll see what it impacts. But you do lose out on Kevin Porter Jr. You lose out on Norman Powell. Honestly, this might make my boy, who I get a lot in slates, Jordan Miller, a value play that could come up a lot for me. So that's one thing I'll highlight right away. Chris Dunn going to get more minutes, though. I would think on paper, Amir Coffey going to get more minutes. So those guys going to be playable values now at 4K for Chris Dunn, 3,800 for Amir Coffey. We'll see what those look like if I can update the projections. Let me see if we got an update. Stokastic does take their sweet time sometimes in between the key periods for updates. So nothing updated yet, so I can't give you guys new numbers. That said, Clippers going to look more playable here. I was already getting James Harden at 16% of lineups. You take Norman Powell off, more usage for him, more opportunity for him. He can have definitely a ceiling day at 9,400. Vika Zubac as well was getting him at 27% already. Losing those bodies, guys who contribute in a couple categories, in particular Porter Jr., who does rebound at a decent clip, assist at a decent clip, and take usage away. Losing his 21 minutes and Powell's 32 minutes. It's going to make everybody a better play here already. And I was getting 25% Powell, so that obviously is out the window too. Kevin Porter Jr., I was not getting 4%, so that'll be gone. Chris Dunn should go up. Feels already at 18%. I imagine now it's going to come up to 25 to 33 would be my guess, maybe more, depending on how he makes lineups work. Derek Jones Jr. should come up as well. He was already projected for 16. Now he's getting more minutes, small forward, power forward. So he's only power forward only, but he should benefit from all those guys being out. Jordan Miller is the one to watch for me. He was already projected for 18 minutes. He's been producing well enough. 23% usage, 14% assist rate, 57.2% true shooting. Jordan Miller is a value play I get on slates a good amount because of him being minimum salary and shooting guard small forward. He might be the value play for me today, depending how the minutes get reallotted. And Miller looks amazing. We'll see how it goes. And thanks for that. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys being here. All right, we're at 4:32. You know what that means. Let me get going on the Unabated tab. Of course, we're going to go check out our sponsors on Unabated. Still going to sim some DFS lineups coming up here and more NBA content for me at 5:30 on the Stokastic channel. I'll be on the deeper dive with my pal Josh Engelman, so check that out. Along with this video, our friends at Unabated teaching you about their conditional NBA projections. It's Unabated. And the drums are kicking in. You want to sort these numbers out? You want to see DeJounte Murray in, Zion Williamson, keep him out. He doesn't play basketball anymore. Is he at Popeyes? I feel like Zion is probably at Popeyes right now. Real-time news, prop betting markets, graphs, more graphs. You can take a stick at. I don't know why you take a stick at a graph, but they have game day live streams too. I think they have less fun than I have probably, but they take it more seriously. And then you can count your money. You put that money down and you go, look at all this money I got. Yeehaw. And everybody's like, wow, I respect this guy so much. He's got a lot of money. That's how that works. Grass. There you go. Sotex gets it. Is Zion a Popeyes or Raising Cane's guy? Probably both. He probably likes to mix the sauce from one with the chicken from another. I can't. I'm not going to read. Talk how to use the conditional projections. Conditional probability is not a thing. Conditional projections is a thing. So basically here, you can see, I don't know, it's saying no injury scenarios. Oh, they logged me out. Okay, sick. Let me log back in. Now we'll get it going. I just ran a sim and it was good. Now we're doing that. Who cares about money when they're graphs? Well, Mike, my friend, money and graphs go hand in hand. That's one of the big lessons we have here. All right, so what we're going to do, basically, we're going to rule every player in. Of course, I'll talk about these guys as we go. Our questionable guys, though, Goga Batadze, you could rule him out and see how the values would look for Orlando. If he were out, that's obviously where the bigger value would be if Goga Batadze misses again, like he did last minute yesterday. Jimmy Butler, same thing here. You would see a better version of life for Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero. The main thing here is we assume these guys are in because we'll still see good markets no matter what. And we can kind of go, okay, I can't take this Tyler Hero under bet because if Jimmy Butler doesn't play, that's going to be like a bad bet. So that's what we're going to kind of go through here. But basically, mark guys in, mark guys out as you see fit. If for some reason, let's say you got the news that Jason Tatum wasn't going to play, you want to enact immediately on that, get your Boston Celtics players, you can mark them out, not even worry about them updating data. You can just go right in and do it. So that's sort of the big upside here. We're going to assume all these guys play today, and let's sim it out. And not my custom projections, Unabated's projections. Here we go. You see them populating. Now we're simming 10,000 times here. You'll find some good bets for PrizePicks, Underdog, DK Sportsbook, and FanDuel Sportsbook coming up. Let me make sure we got everything populated in here. All right. Should do it. All right, Chris Dunn over 6.5. So right now, you just got those Clipper guys ruled out. I think these lines have not been updated yet for PrizePicks and Underdog. Run to take this one if you're building a pick 'em today. Over 6.5 points for Chris Dunn. He's now projected for 9 from Unabated. Let me make sure because the Clippers guys they already accounted for. Bogdan Bogdanovic under 13.5 points is the line for here right now. 17.6% EV on that one. Playable on FanDuel Sportsbook. You could also take it on PrizePicks. 14% EV on under 13 points on PrizePicks right now for Bogdan Bogdanovic. Get under 13.5 on FanDuel. And it also looks like it's playable on DK Sportsbook under 12.5 at minus 105 odds is what the line is for that. So you're losing a point, but getting slightly better odds. Ivica Zubac, value on the over here, over on 13.5 points, 14.5% EV on Underdog and PrizePicks. Run to take that one. That one has not been adjusted, I would guess, for the other Clippers playing being out. Bam Adebayo under 17.5. This one would be effective. Jimmy Butler were out. It would not look quite as good. But currently, Bam Adebayo under 17.5 looks good on Underdog. 13.7% EV there. Still playable on PrizePicks under 17. And still playable on DK Sportsbook as well. And FanDuel under 17.5 on both those. Minus 128, minus 130 odds for Bam Adebayo. Benedict Mathurin, 9.7% EV on under 19.5. At this point, that line should be good to go. Nobody else questionable for Indiana. 18.5 points the projection for him. They have been under 19.5, 9.7% EV on FanDuel Sportsbook right now. Jason Tatum, he's questionable, so his status doesn't really matter right now. If he doesn't play, he'll get voided, but he looks good at under 26.5 points, 9.3% EV. Again, it's a game against Detroit. They're a heavy favorite on. You can see Peyton Pritchard put up some points here. I think that fits the game logic, as well as the best EVs you're going to find here. 8.5% EV on DK Sportsbook as well, under 26.5 points at minus 120. You probably don't need to see the line history on that. And still bettable on FanDuel under 26.5 at minus 122. Though it is under that 8% sim threshold we want. Sim EVs, you want to have over 8%. Regular market-based EVs over 2% is generally the rule of thumb for that stuff. D'Angelo Russell. So still value on the under, even with Austin Reeves taken out. D'Angelo Russell under 15.5, minus 102 odds on FanDuel. Gets you 8.4% EV. I would not take that one on PrizePicks and Underdog, though, where the line is a little bit less favorable. All right, rebounds up next. We're just going to do points, rebounds, and assists, and then points plus rebounds plus assists. So that's how we'll do here. Of course, everything else you want to get here, you got blocks, three-pointers, turnovers, every proprietary market you can find on a betting tool or a betting sportsbook app, you're going to be able to get here with Unabated. So check it out for yourself. And again, I'm showing you a taste here, but if you want the whole thing and you want to place a lot more bets, which is really the best way to take advantage of any EV calculation, got to do Unabated yourself. Link in the description to do that. Onyeka Okongwu, under 6.5 rebounds right now. This one should be safe. No questionable players on the Hawks. 16.3% EV on under 6.5 rebounds on PrizePicks and Underdog. You're also getting 15.4% EV on DK Sportsbook. Under 6.5 rebounds there for minus 120. It is not available on FanDuel. They took that line off. Chris Dunn, 13.1% EV on over 3.5 rebounds. That one's only available on PrizePicks right now, over 3.5. Still getting 8.4% EV on over 3.5 at minus 130 odds on DK Sportsbook for Chris Dunn, and over 3.5 rebounds on FanDuel as well at minus 128 odds. Jaime Jaquez, value on under 4.5. This one would not be the same, though, if Jimmy Butler were rolled out. You probably would want to shade over. But if Butler plays, this would look good. 11% EV on under 4.5 rebounds at minus 110 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook. Bobby Portis, nobody questionable right now for the Bucks. This should be good. 10.9% EV on over 6.5 rebounds. That one's available on PrizePicks, not available on Underdog. And looks like you don't want to take it on DK Sportsbook. Tobias Harris, 10% EV on over 5.5 rebounds. Minus 110 odds for that. That's playable on FanDuel Sportsbook, and you probably don't want it on PrizePicks and DK. Julius Randle, 9% EV on over 6 rebounds for him. That one's available right now on PrizePicks. DK Sportsbook, you could play that one. Plus 110 odds. It's plus money, so I would take it maybe. Even it's only 7.6% EV on over 6.5 rebounds for Julius Randle. And lastly, for rebounds, Rui Hachimura. This one already accounting for Austin Reeves being out. We're getting over 5 rebounds for Hachimura, playable on PrizePicks, getting you 9% EV for over 5 rebounds for Rui Hachimura, and Cuss playable on DK Sportsbook and FanDuel at over 4.5, minus 154 odds and minus 154 odds. Assists coming up next. If you want your graphs to look like those graphs I showed you a few moments ago, you can tail some of these. All right. And again, we're getting pretty good feedback too from a lot of people who watch the stream here, which I appreciate. Please let me know if there are things you think are working well, things you think aren't working as well. Always happy to hear it. A lot of people have been talking about how they're getting good results here, and I'm only showing you, the top few bets. One thing to keep in mind here is that you have, like you can see here, all these markets that I'm not showing you because I'm only picking off, cherry picking the top ones. There's a lot more value to be had if you do get an unabated subscription, and I should do a better job pointing that out every time. Giannis Antetokounmpo, value in over 6 assists right now. It's playable on PrizePicks. where you're getting 26.5% EV. It's not available on Underdog, but you can play it on DK Sportsbook and FanDuel. 17.7% EV on over 6.5 rebounds for Giannis at plus 100 odds. KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, value on over 1.5 assists, 18.1% EV on PrizePicks, not playable on DK Sportsbook or FanDuel. Franz Wagner, value on over 6.5 assists at plus 122 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook. That gets you 15.3% EV. On PrizePicks, over 6 assists for him gets you 12.3% EV. So that's one you can play in a pick'em or on FanDuel Sportsbook. For Franz Wagner's over on 6.5 assists, and it's over 6 on PrizePicks. Tyrese Maxey, 13.2% EV on over 5.5 assists. That one's plus 118 odds on FanDuel right now. PrizePicks has a decent one over 5 assists, 13.1% EV. It looks like it's still bettable on DK Sportsbook as well. 11.6% EV on plus 115 odds, over 5.5 assists for Tyrese Maxey. Dennis Schroeder, under 7 right now, assists looks good on PrizePicks. 13.1% EV for that one. Another strong bet to take. PrizePicks, we've now fleshed out multiple pick'em cards here, so hopefully you guys are taking advantage of that. I don't have a PrizePicks affiliate code, but please, PrizePicks, if you're watching, give me money. DK Sportsbook, 10.9% EV on under 6.5 assists for him as well. That's at plus 110 odds. Still bettable on FanDuel, under 6.5 at plus 106. And that's Dennis Schroeder, that is, his assist props. Chris Dunn, value under 3.5 assists, 12.6% EV on Underdog right now. That's one for an Underdog pick'em. Underdog does seem faster at killing lines that are plus EV. PrizePicks, soft on it for sure. Playing a lot of the bets on IKB. Oh, okay. I don't really know IKB, but that's that guy Andy's thing, right? Is that correct? But yeah, play wherever you can get him. Jalen Duren, 10% EV on over 1.5 assists for him. That's on PrizePicks. Does not look playable on DK Sportsbook or FanDuel. Last but not least, our friends of Unabated PRAs. Of course, after this, we'll do Stokastic lineup sim. So we'll check that out in a moment. People think I talk fast. Like this is my most like carnival barker thing where I'm like, hey, you got 10% EV, you got 12.5% EV, go take this one, find whatever rebound. But I'm trying to get through them as fast as possible while giving you guys a shot because these lines, can evaporate quickly. Derek Jones, over 13.5 PRAs. Basically seems like the Clippers lines on PrizePicks, not touched. Underdog has moved this line too. So Underdog's catching up on Clippers stuff. PrizePicks asleep at the wheel right now. 21.5% EV, over 13.5 rebounds from Derek Jones. Jason Tatum, under 40.5. He's questionable right now. If he doesn't play, he'll get voided. So under 40.5 PRAs, value of 12.3% EV on FanDuel Sportsbook. Probably don't want it on PrizePicks and Underdog compared to the other lines that you've seen so far. Bogdan Bogdanovic, under 18.5 PRAs, 9% EV for him on Underdog. Also available on PrizePicks, not playable on DK Sportsbook. Tobias Harris, 7.5% EV. We probably don't want that. I think that's it. I think that is it here. And Tobias one, if you just need one more. Tobias over 19 PRAs, 7.5% EV on PrizePicks, not playable on DK Sportsbook or FanDuel. But that's that, guys. That's all your profitable markets. Everybody, class together. Can we say thank you, Unabated? Thank you, Unabated. Click the link in the description to check out all their data and tools. They, of course, have stuff for NBA, for NFL. No conditional projections for NFL, but they do have similar market-based tools. College betting, especially college sports, are going to clean up in college basketball, bowl season as well. I would check out all of the data they have because it's going to make a difference in your betting portfolio. You want more money to play DFS? Using betting intelligently is one way to do it. So that is the best ad I can give you. And they are great people and a great company. And that's what I care about here for things I'm going to bring to you guys. All right, let's go to Stokastic next. Speaking of great people, great companies, I'll be on Stokastic at 5:30 on the deeper dive. So if you want some more from me and more pushback on the bullshit I say, Josh Engel will be doing that for you with me at 5:30. So check that out on their YouTube channel. But right now, we're going to build 5,000 lineups here with Stokastic Sim Tool. We're going to sim them out 10,000 times. And we're going to find out who are those must plays. Yeehaw. Yeehaw. Should I pretend like I'm riding a mechanical bull? Is that what people want to see? 40-year-old DFS host riding a mechanical bull? Probably not, but maybe. Thank you, Unabated. Thank you, Unabated. There we go. Thank you, Unabated. I appreciate that. The best way to say thank you, though, is with your pocketbook. But yes, I appreciate you guys. Again, I couldn't do the show without them, so I appreciate it. Of course, couldn't do the show as well without Stokastic affiliate fees. So if you want to see their data, their tools, you want to get access to it, link in the description will show you all their packages together. Stuff for NFL, stuff for NBA, stuff for college sports as well. Whatever you need, they got, which does make me feel like a drug pusher if I say it like that. But baby, we got whatever you need. Just come right along. All right. My projections, not a part of this process. You're just going to see Stokastic's data. They have still not updated for Austin Reeves, so that is one that will throw things off. Have to give the caveat here. Hopefully they'll get it updated before I do the deeper dive, so I'll have my more accurate numbers there. But unfortunately, I'm not a minutes maker. I know how to do it, but it's too much work with all the shit I have to do in a given day. So leave the minutes makers to make the minutes. Thank you. Thank you for the 411. I appreciate the chat. Thank you for watching. Legitimately, I appreciate all you guys watching here. The views are going up. Look, we're probably not going to hit 100 concurrents today, but we have enough over the last few weeks. I'm stoked. Again, trying to get to 500 subs now. That's the next goal mark, guys. So please show some love. Hit that like button, subscribe. It does go a long way for me. I'm just one guy doing 2 YouTube channels as best I can. Someone said Mechanical Bull, and I got a notification. Oh, there you go. Maybe people do want to see a DFS host ride a Mechanical Bull then, at least YouTube notifications. All right, your top ROI lineups according to Stokastic. Again, you might not want to play these ones straight away, but I would use them to pick up on the overall trends that Stokastic has given you. And if you want to play them straight away, you can, but just keep in mind, people are going to dupe it a million times over. Tyrese Halliburton, Dalton Connect, Jason Tatum, LeBron James, Day'Ron Sharpe, Mike Conley, Jarris Walker, and Goga Bitadze. So it feels like even though they have Austin Reeves still in their data set, you're getting kind of the benefit of Reeves being out with Connect, with LeBron already. Those guys are going to get a lot chalkier as a result. That's basically that. You subbed to Unabated? Oh, I mean, I haven't gotten it. I have to say, I'm a little bit worried because it hasn't given me an attribution for anybody converting yet. And I'm like, I don't think that feels right because like I know how well I convert for Stokastic. So it's been throwing me for a loop a little bit. But if you do convert with the promo code SPLASH and the link description for Unabated, please let me know so I can make sure that's processing right. Number 2 ROI lineup, Tyler Hero, Dalton Connect, Jason Tatum, LeBron James, Day'Ron Sharpe, Mike Conley, Naz Reeds, and Goga Bitadze. I don't know why I said Naz Reeds. Naz Reed and Goga Bitadze. I'm talking like a Key and Peele sketch. Number 3, Trae Young, Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, Jarris Walker, Day'Ron Sharpe again. So paying down all the way for Day'Ron Sharpe. I did not get that as much today. I got that a lot last slate. Then it kind of went away when value opened up. But right now, Stokastic giving you Day'Ron Sharpe. What did he? He didn't play a lot of minutes. He was out there. He was producing fine per minute from what I saw. But I don't think he played very much. Day'Ron Sharpe played 16 minutes. And frankly, he didn't produce as well as he did last year either. He was like a 1.2 fantasy point per minute guy last year. Looks like he got 4 points and 5 peripherals in that game. Day'Ron Sharpe chalk, I would not see coming, but he's in a lot of these top ROI lineups right now. Number 4, Tyrese Halliburton, Dante DiVincenzo, who has been kind of a lost man in Minnesota so far. Rui Hachimura, he'll benefit from no Austin Reeves, even though these projections, again, do assume Austin Reeves is in right now. Jarris Walker, Day'Ron Sharpe, D'Angelo Russell, LeBron, AD. I mean, this lineup looks like one where they're assuming that Reeves is out because you're getting a shitload of Lakers here, 4 Lakers in the build. But that's a good lineup. I think it's going to look better with Reeves being out, but certainly higher owned. Number 5 RO lineup, according to Stokastic. Trae Young, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Jimmy Butler, Jarris Walker, Day'Ron Sharpe again, Mike Conley, Giannis, and Goga Bitadze. So Day'Ron Sharpe in 5 out of 5 of the top highest ROI lineups. Jarris Walker in 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the top 5. I mean, LeBron in a good amount here. LeBron in 1, 2, 3 out of the top 5. But your values, it seems like in the top ROI lineups are Day'Ron Sharpe and Jarris Walker, which the Jarris Walker thing, man, feels like a fucking trap every day. Like if Miles Turner were out, if Moses Brown were out too, I can go to Day'Ron, I could go to Walker and feel better about it. But he just stands. He's just out there. He's like the Blair Witch Project. He's just standing in the corner, like not even. Like Jarris Walker is not a fun click, and he keeps making it in every slate. Anyway, top ROIs right now, and the highest 150 ROI lineups according to Stokastic. Day'Ron Sharpe, 21% ROI for him. He's not minimum salary anymore. He's 3,500, so that's a tough click. But they have him for 20 fantasy points today. Jarris Walker, 6% ROI. They have him just over 20 as well. 21.75 is projection for him. 1% ROI for Ben Simmons at a 28 fantasy point projection. Hard to play Ben Simmons because he just can't get you 30 minutes. He could certainly put up 1.5 fantasy points a minute in his 25 or so. but hard to really love him for me. Dalton Connect, again, this is assuming that Austin Reeves was in. He's going to look a lot better with Austin Reeves out. LeBron not too far off at negative 1.5% ROI. D'Angelo Russell, negative 2.4. That's that. Overall exposures, 58% Jarris Walker. Man, I get it. I get it. I just, air dancers get more fantasy points than Jarris Walker. Yeah, like the halftime show sometimes does, it feels like. Yeah, he's not active enough. There's too many fucking dudes. And like, I get he opens it up. What I would try to take this as, though, is like a power forward who's 3,800 unlocks a lot of well-projected lineups. So trying to find that value, that 3,800 somewhere else, trying to find another power forward who's a semi-value, who's close to that, who gives you a good lineup. I think that's really the thing if you don't want to play Jarris Walker. But it's like the sim is taking them, the easiest pathway to the lineups that thinks are good. And that's playing Jarris Walker and assuming he gets you 20. But if he gets you 15, it's like you're fucked. So that's sort of the way to try to view the sims. It's spitting back that projection and the fact, too, that, he theoretically probably has some high tail outcomes, I guess. But that's a lot of Jarris Walker. Goga Batadze, 55% compared to 32. So that's a lot of high ownership on him as well. Was late scratched yesterday. No guarantee he plays today. That's how that's looking. Amir Coffee, easy pivot. Yeah, this does also, I don't think these projections have accounted for the Clippers guys being out. So Amir Coffee a little bit more. Amir Coffee's not producing that well either, though. He'll play more minutes, but he's kind of mini Jarris Walker. Let me look at Amir Coffee's minutes or per minute numbers. He's averaging 0.7 fantasy points per minute. Jarris Walker, 0.81. So you'll get more minutes. I agree with Coffee, but he's also a dog shit play too. In reality, Dalton Connect, 49% sim exposure in the top 150 compared to 20% for the field. That's going to go up though with the Austin Reeves data update that comes. Mike Conley, 45% sim exposure compared to 26. I imagine that comes down a little bit more for D'Angelo Russell coming up around the same price tag, but Conley's still playable no matter what. And sometimes those plays where they look like the best play in the morning, value opens up and that value doesn't get there. Sometimes those plays get forgotten a little bit more. I think Mike Conley might be kind of forgotten a little bit more. So he'll still be a valid play, even though he's going to come down a little bit in exposure and ownership, I would think. Not true. When Norm is out, he gets a lot more usage. He doesn't get a lot more. Now with Harden out there. But having Porter out will help a little bit. I'll look at the rates. Honestly, we could do it really fast before I hop off. Again, 5:30 will be back on Stokastic, so please watch that. I'll have more data updates then because I assume they're going to give me a minutes update before we do the show. Players off, Powell. Still one we have to worry about this season. Amir Coffee in court time where Powell is off the court this year, 15.8% usage, 0.68 fantasy points per minute, not really that much better. If I take Porter out, the sample size is going to get kind of small. Coffee still 0.67 fantasy points per minute. He just doesn't get better. He just doesn't. He's useless. He's functionally a useless player, but I get it. I'm actually going to put the rates in for the Clippers real fast and see what I get. So I'm taking a look on a screen you guys can't see, which I hate doing. All right, so this is not with the minutes being changed. Zubac is going to look like a lot better play to me. Harden's going to look like a lot better play. Derek Jones is going to look more playable. And yeah, Coffee's going to need a lot of minutes, man. He's already projected for 20.9, and I have him at 14.3 fantasy points. So Amir Coffee stinks, but look, I get it. He's going to get more minutes. Am I seeing any Quentin Jackson? Yeah, I was getting Quentin Jackson a decent amount in the sim before this Lakers stuff came out. Quentin Jackson, I was getting in 29% of my sim lineup. So more than 3x the field for me with Quentin Jackson. It does seem like for Stokastic, though, they're a little bit low on Quentin Jackson, only 6% compared to the field 7.5. Anyway, your highest leverage, guys, before we hop off here. Appreciate you guys watching. Again, if you get something out of this content, show some love, hit that like button, subscribe. Trying to get to 500 so we get the channel monetized. Obviously, Unabated's paying the freight for me to be able to do this every day, so I appreciate them too. But we're trying to get this channel growing. And of course, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Similar content every day. You can hop in, you can skim around if you want, if you're coming in late. But that's my goal here, to give you something actionable every day. Your most negative leverage plays, and again, this was before the Clippers news, so this is all going to change. Derek Jones, Chris Dunn, Harden, Zubac, throw that out right now. DeAndre Hunter, you're going to get even less of him, I would think. They think he's a negative leverage play, negative 6.5. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, negative 6.3. Rudy Gobert, negative 6.2% leverage for all those guys. Positive leverage plays, and again, this is before the Clippers and Austin Reeves being out news. Jarris Walker, 36% leverage. They love him. He's going to come down a little bit, I think, for those other guys being opened up. Don't Connect, 29% leverage. He'll be higher owned by the field, but they'll still probably want you to get him a good amount with Austin Reeves out. Day'Ron Sharpe, still, I think, going to be holding in here, 28% leverage for him. That is so much. They wanted to get 5x the field on Day'Ron Sharpe. So you want to take a stand? That's your stand if you want to follow the data. Toppin is better. Toppin had the big day yesterday. Day'Ron Sharpe hasn't yet. There's certainly logic in Sharpe. He's a little bit cheaper too. Batadze, they wanted to get 23% leverage on him. LeBron, 22%. That'll probably, again, his ownership will come up. Exposure probably also comes up when they adjust for the Reeves news. Mike Conley, 18% leverage. And Bam Adebayo, 16%. So that's how the Stokastic data looks, guys. Check them out. Build your own sim lineups. Even upload your own projections and sim off of that. Using the promo code SPLASH down below, 15% off. Best deal they have because it's 15% off in perpetuity. So check that out. Toppin is better, not Sharpe, better than Walker. Yeah, look, I agree. At least Toppin does stuff when he's on the court. So I'm with you on that. I think you're completely right. Anyway, guys, going to give you my splash plays for the day as we've so lovingly branded them here. Before I do, though, support the sponsors, 15% off Stokastic, Unabated, $30 off, Underdog, $1,000 of bonus cash. If you want to build a pick'em off some of that data I gave you guys earlier. And of course, subscribe, hit the like button. I'm just one dude doing an NBA channel and an NFL channel. I'm lucky to have some sponsors with it. But you guys here being here every day, showing some love, and of course, keeping me honest about what I should be doing here to help you out the most, that would be appreciated. So hit that like button and subscribe. All right, so my quote-unquote splash plays here, and this is still not fully accounting for the news that we've talked about. I mean, look, in terms of the top projected play, if you can now find a way to get to Giannis, I still think he's the best play on the slate. It was tough to pay that 12-1 price tag before. Even with that, I got him in 33% of lineup. So if you can afford Giannis, he's on the thumbnail. It's not a brave take here, but he does look pretty good. LeBron already looked good for me. He's going to look better as well in terms of your pay-up guys. AD, I think, benefits the least, but still a viable play. Besides that, Maxey, I still like. Tyler Hero, I like now, would like him more if Jimmy Butler goes out. Dennis Schroeder, I would also add in. And then in terms of value plays, I think Mike Conley looks like one of those guys for me, though I'm going to get less of him now with D'Angelo Russell coming up. And Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre is definitely a stand for me on this slate. Benefits a lot with Paul George and Joel Embiid off. We'll see if he can benefit today, but hopefully a competitive game for Philly once again. And honestly, I enjoyed watching them play yesterday, so that's how that goes. Guys, I'll be back at 5:30 on the Deeper Dive on Stokastic channel. Check that out. Show some love over there. Back tomorrow at 4 p.m. Every day here, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Thanks to our friends at Unabated. I will be here for you no matter what happens tonight in NBA. I wish you the best of luck. Of course, gamble responsibly. It's always money time. And yeah, I'll see you guys again tomorrow or at 5:30 on Stokastic. Splash play tomorrow for the showdown. Thursday night football. That'll be back too. So I'll see you guys at one of those. Enjoy your days and good luck. Bye-bye.